Hello, welcome to Baron's Game Room. I'm Aaron as always, and today we're going to teach you guys how to play one of our newest games called The Cure. In The Cure, you are playing as various scientists and doctors who are all working together to create, well, the cure. The cure for what? That's not important. We leave that to the business people. But rumor has it that a rival lab has been trying to bribe somebody to sabotage all of your hard work. But who is it? Hey guys, Aaron here from the future, or the present. Although I guess by the time you're watching this, I'll be in the past. Oh god. Anyways, I'm just here to say that I'm going to be jumping in from time to time throughout this video now, because over the 2 years it's been since we published this game, we've updated the rules just a little bit. So for this new second edition or mass market release we're doing, there's been a few little alterations and additional rules to add to it that we'll just sort of chime in when needed with. Let's get back to it, guys. The Cure is a hidden role game for 2 to 4 players. In this game, players will be working together to place cards to the center of the table, trying to add up to the goal number. But again, one player may be bad and attempting to sabotage all of their hard work. Let's get to the setup. So first things are always first, and with setup, what you're going to do is you're going to first take the bad card and one good card for every player you have. So 4 players, you use all of them. 3, you'll take out 1, and 2 players, you'll take out 2 of them. But once you have all those, you're going to mix them all up thoroughly, and then have each player take one of these cards or deal them out, whatever. Take whichever one is not given to a player, and just remove that one from the game, setting it face down off to the side. Make sure no one sees this card. Once every player has received their hidden role card, they're going to take a look at it, but keep it very secret to themselves. What, have you never played a hidden role game? If you're playing with 3 or 4 players, you can choose to use the microscopes. These are optional, but if you choose to use them, you go place these just face up on the table off to the side. We generally recommend using 2 for a 4-player game, but only 1 for a 3-player game. Lastly, for setup, you're going to shuffle up these deck of cards here. No matter how many players you're playing, always deal out 12 of these cards. And you're going to take the next card and flip it face up to the center of the table. Take the remaining 4 cards and again set them just face down outside of the game with that unused roll card. Again, just like the unused roll card, do not look at those cards. That needs to stay secret. You obviously can look at the hand you were dealt. You know, it's a hand. You should kind of know what you're playing down. And very last, decide who goes first. After you end up dealing all the cards and dealing the 1 card face up to the center of the table, count this number from the dealer. So if this player was dealer, then 1, 2, 3, that player is going to be your first player of the game. Taking a turn in the cure is super simple. All you're going to do is you're going to look at the cards in your hand, pick one of them, and add it face down to the center of the table. So I'm going to take this 4 here, and I'm going to place it face down to the center pile. Now that I've done that, I'm now going to say the new sum of this pile. So 3 plus 4 is 7. I will say 7 as I play down that card. Now, I'm sure you noticed that I played that card face down, so no one can actually confirm what I played there. As I just said, this pile is now 7. Or is it? Now, you're not just working with complete guessing information here. The rulebook does tell you exactly how many of every card is featured in the game, so you do have a decent idea of the rarity of every card. For example, the most common card in the game is 2, whereas the least common cards in the game are 4 and 0. So, once someone plays down a 4, the likelihood of someone playing down another 4 is kind of rare. There's one more thing you can do to get a little extra information while you're playing this game. Next, we're going to talk about the microscopes. At the start of your turn, you can request permission to use a microscope. If I want to use a microscope on my turn, I simply request permission from the table to use one. Again, I need majority approval, so I'm obviously asking of the other 3 players, I need 2 of them to agree to let me use it. If 2 players agree to let me use a microscope card, you will turn it face down to show that it's been used. If there are no face-up microscope cards, then you can unfortunately no longer use this action. If you get approval to use the microscope card, what you can do is you can look at the top card of the stack. You will pick it up, look at it for yourself, don't show anyone else at the table, and put it directly back on top of the stack. I now know exactly what the player before me has played. And just like I could lie about what cards I put down, I could lie right here if I want to. All up to you, because the whole name of this game is choosing when to lie. And lying can be great for both sides. Obviously, the bad guy is going to have to do some lying to end up getting the win. But lying can also be good for the good players as well, because some small lies on the good player's side can make it difficult for the bad player to know how to sabotage you. Now, to be extra clear on how the microscope works, you have to request to use the microscope at the beginning of your own turn, not in front of someone else's turn. And if you are given permission to use the microscope, you're only ever allowed to look at the top card. So only ever the card played by the last player. You're not allowed to pick any other card to look at it. And, just to be clear, using a microscope does not take up your turn. After you use a microscope, you will still play a card as normal. Between turns, if any player thinks that the center pile might be at a good safe spot to stop and count, they can call for a vote. If the majority of players agree to stop, the game ends. Now, it has to be a majority. So in a 4-player game, you must have 3 players all agree to stop. If you only have 2 to agree to stop and 2 that don't, then you have to keep playing. The goal of the game is for the center pile to add up to the goal range. The goal range for a 3-player game is 16-17. For a 4-player game is 18-19. If it adds up to one of those 3 numbers, then the good players win the game. If it adds up to any other number at all, then the bad player wins. But if there is no bad player, then everyone just loses. Sorry. And that's really all the basics of the game. Again, you'll all take turns playing down a card, then calling out a new sum. The new sum you say will always have to be somewhere between adding 0 to 4 to the game. You can't just call out any wild number. You can't say you're adding 7, because 7 doesn't exist in this game. You can play anything. You could say it's anything from 0 to 4. Between any turn, if a majority of players agree to stop, you will quit playing cards and add up the center pile. Now, other than the final goal, 3 and 4 player are the exact same. Same rules. 4 players shoots for 18, 3 players shoots for 16, but otherwise all the same rules. 2 player, however, has a good bit of different to it. A very important change between the 3 and 4 player games and the 2 player games is that in a 2 player game, you are going to remove all of the 4s and 0 cards from the game. Each player is going to receive 1 microscope during setup. When you use a microscope in a 2-player game, you can look at either the last card your opponent played, or you can also look at any card still remaining in their hand. So it's your choice, either or. Either the last card your opponent played, or any card still in their hand. The main difference in the 2-player version is that you are not adding cards to a shared pile. It will all be added together at the end, but during the gameplay, you have 2 separate piles. Let me show you. So in the 2-player version, anytime a player plays a card down, they're going to play it face down to the side of the face-up card. So at the end of the game, both players will have a pile on each side of the card. Another big difference, in the 2-player game, there is no voting to stop. In the 2-player game, each player will play exactly 3 cards. You will still take turns playing 1 card down at a time, but the game will immediately end once both players have played 3 cards. And the last big difference to a 2-player game is, before counting up all the cards played to the table, either player is allowed to force the opponent to switch the 3 cards still remaining in their hand with the 3 cards they've played on the table. You'll then, just like the normal game, take all 3 cards played by one player, all 3 cards played by the other, and the center card, and add them up all together. The goal for a 2-player game is 14-15. Any other number at all, and the bad player wins, and just like in the regular game, if there are no bad players, then, or there isn't a bad player, then you both lose. Sorry. Lastly, I want to talk about the extended mode. The extended mode is basically a best 2 out of 3 between the good players and the bad players. Again, if there even is a bad player. Setup for the extended mode is basically the same as a standard game, except for one important change is that regardless of whether you are doing a 3 or 4 player extended mode, you will always use 2 microscopes. A single round of the extended mode is just the basic game. At the end of a round, before you reveal the played cards, you're going to take all of the played cards and shuffle them together. Then you will flip them over, reveal, and count them up. This way, you may be able to spot that someone did lie, but you will have no way of knowing exactly who told the lie. It's very important. Do not reveal your roll cards at the end of a round. Roll cards are to remain hidden until a winner is declared. We'll go into how you win the extended mode here in a sec. At the end of a round, after you've counted up all the cure cards, if you successfully landed in the goal range, then great. The good players get a point. If you landed anywhere outside of the goal range, then the bad player gets a point. A success or failure, basically. If at the end of any round, either the good players or the bad players have 2 points, the game is over. A game can end in just 2 rounds, but assuming maybe you had a failure your first round and then a success your second round, then you will go a third round to find and determine the winner. Between rounds, simply take all the cure cards, shuffle them up, deal them out, and set up like it's a normal game. The things you will not do is you will not redistribute roll cards. Roll cards will only be distributed at the beginning of the game, and then each player will keep their roll card through each round. You also, again, will not refresh any microscopes. Any used microscopes will stay face down throughout the rest of the extended mode game. Once you have declared a winner, then everyone can finally reveal their roll cards to see who won or lost this game. And that really should be everything you need to know about the cure. So now you can go out there and cure the world. Fix it of, I don't know, the common cold or baldness or something, or ED. You can always reach out to us on all of our social medias. We're on Facebook, X, Instagram. We're on TikTok as well. You can always find us on our website, baronsgames.com. I don't know which way I need to do that. Anyway, y'all, see you next time.